Alright, so in today we are going to discuss in today's class day 2. Welcome to day 2 of our masterclass. Let us talk about. Are you working? It's not reflecting my stuff. So we're going to launch the CapCut, but we're going to explain some video editing terminologies that are not unique to CapCut. So that is, I'm not necessarily. So we're not necessarily talking about CapCut. So we're talking about video editing tools in general, using CapCut as a reference. So I'm going to launch my own CapCut, and we are going to take a look at it. So usually this will be empty, and you click on new project. Yeah, I should, so you can see what we're working on. So click on new project, and it's going to take you to, going to open for you a new empty project like this. Alright. If you've downloaded those media files, this would be a good time to import them. But before we do that, let's walk through the interface. So that is the interface. Basically, you see the way things are sectioned, right? Yeah. The sections may differ, but they are similar in all editing software. So this down here is usually where we have our timeline. So timeline, this is where you perform your cutting, your joining, your transitions, add your audio, your layers, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure you are seeing your timeline, right? So yeah, it's on your phone, Navi. Okay, click on any video. Just start with any video. So on your phone, of course, it will not be the same interface, but the tools and the features will be there. Just import any video into the project, into the CapCut. So here is where we can call this your project panel. This is basically where you have your media files. And here we can call this our preview panel. So here we're either going to be previewing the timeline or the source. So we can say timeline or source preview panel. So that means when you import any media and you want to check what it looks like, this is where you will check. Here it will be our properties panel. Some call it attributes.
So what do you say about the preview panel?
I said the preview panel helps you to see what you are doing. Either you are previewing stuff down on your timeline, or you are previewing media files that are still on your project that has not been brought to your timeline. So you have files in your project that are not yet in your timeline, but you are basically telling the software that this is where to look for these files. So let's now take a look at, let's now define some terms. So I want us to define a few terms such as, okay, let's go to the other app. Are you done writing now? Okay. Okay. So let's drag a video into this place first. You can import any video file. So you can import any video file. Let's see. Okay. My former setup was sharp. Alright. So now let's see a few things. If you notice, you are previewing this video, right? That is still on your project, or that which we call this media pool, right? Media pool, that's what DaVinci will call this place. Premiere Pro will call it project. But whatever you want to call it, that's where you keep your media files. Okay. So now what if you want to check the attributes of this? By the time it's selected, by the time you click on it, you can automatically, you can come over to this place and you see some properties. So we can see the frame rate and this, but I mean this is not enough. I want to see the resolution, so let me right click on it. Okay. So okay. Okay, let's look at this place. So I came down here to modify. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to define some terms. We see ratio, resolution, frame rate, color space. Okay, let's just look at all these things because we use them in any and every software we work with. So for example, we have the name, of course, will be your project name. Okay. When we look up here, this is your project setting. In Premiere Pro, this will be called timeline settings, right? Or sequence settings. I think sequence settings. So in Premiere Pro, this will be sequence settings. But what is important are your resolution, the aspect ratio, right? Ratio is also known as aspect ratio. So if you've done things with pictures, you may notice that, okay, Instagram is 4:8, 4:3, YouTube 16:9, right? TikTok maybe 9:16. So 9:16 is known as a vertical aspect ratio. Standard vertical aspect ratio.
So set how we want it to come out.
Yes, so you are setting how you want the video to come out based on the platform you are editing for.
Okay, please, you have to say that again. The Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Yeah. I said Instagram, especially if it's for pictures though, it's usually 4:3, right? It's still a vertical. Or is that 3:4? Okay, 4:3 will be landscape, 3:4 will be vertical. It has wiped again. Okay, let's just click on it and see. So if you click on ratio, you see the options they are giving us. Can you see them?
Can you say about the 4:3?
So this 4x3, okay, if you look at all these here are landscape, right? You know the landscape aspect ratio is where it looks like lying down on the ground.
Okay.
It's longer on the horizontal. Are you following?
So, yeah, I'm trying to touch my
What are you trying to touch? Modify now. Abi? You're tired. The makeup was stressful. Are you with us? Do you have CapCuts on your own laptop?
No.
If not, come and pair with somebody else. I'll be seeing what they are doing. You can just stand for a minute with them, or those that have CapCuts. Follow here. Alright, so I'm trying to, because the first thing you want to decide when making a video is what platform am I making it for, right?
Yeah.
Where would this video be used? So you're asking yourself a question. For example, you won't make a video vertical and go and upload it on your YouTube channel unless it's a short, right? But if it's a full-length video, you don't do that. So landscape videos are for movie theaters, right? For example, this one, okay? It's a very long, I think they call it anamorphic. Yeah, so widescreen, right? Cinema, IMAX kind of vibe. So usually when they say you want to make your video cinematic, many of them just put borders, make it look like this. It gives that cinematic stuff. So you can call this like cinematic look, right? This and this, they are close. I think this one is wider, longer. So this one is the one we use the most. This is for YouTube. Okay. YouTube, anything for your TV, anything landscape. That's where you use that. 2x1 is still cinematic, but is not as long. Same as this. So I'll just put all of them as cinematic. This one, this is also for TV, but like it's more like it would have been giving like old school TV, right? So usually when they want to do like maybe you want to put like black and white kind of olden days vibe, you will notice they will not crop it to this aspect ratio. You will not see the border on the left and right.
That's 4x3.
Yes. If you saw this Marvel series, the way it started,
Yeah, that's it. That means.
you know,
So it surpassed. It's now be at the same.
do you remember the Marvel series I'm talking about? Do you watch Marvel movies? The one with this girl. No, the girl and the guy. Sorry, the thing is leaving my head. Scarlet Witch and Vision. Yeah. What's the name of that series again? Yeah. So, but it started with an old school something, and they used that 4x3. So if you want to do like throwback to olden days stuff, use that as like a good aspiration for that. So whatever. But we don't use it that much anymore.
So you can have different ratios on a video.
Well, usually the ratio you start with is the ratio you will finish the whole video. But what cinematographers do is they use black border so you can watch some movies, some parts of it will be cinematic. Later they will widen it. They just play with borders. So they may just start the movie in 16:9. So usually if it's landscape, just start with 16:9. If you want to make it cinematic, there's a way you add black borders top and bottom. It will change the aspect ratio for you. If you want to make it 4x3, there's a way you add borders on the sides. Do you understand? So 16:9 is standard because the way you start the project, you can't change the aspect ratio inside one project. No. It remains constant. So if this is 16 by 9, your whole movie has to be 16 by 9. If you must change it, maybe to tell a particular story, in that section, you will now put a border like this. So all here will now be black. So the person watching it would think that the aspect ratio has changed, but you only just block some part of the screen. So it will now look like 4 by 3.
Yeah, I have another question.
What is it?
What if you're starting with something like this 4 by 3 and you want to increase it to 16 by now? How do you increase it? See with border.
No, you can't increase it. You can end up, you can put border up there, but then you are reducing your resolution. It will be a waste of time. So my right of was left. So wish I could bring it back now. All right, let's continue. 16 by 9 is what you should use if you are not sure, right? By default. So we already said this for YouTube. We said this is cinematic. Let's look at the portraits. Let's look at the portrait ones. This is the one that is popular now for TikTok, Shorts, and the likes. Right? But for most phones that are very long, this one will not see through your screen. So this one may actually be like really full. This one you may still see some border up and down for most phones if you use 9 by 16. So this 5.8 inch, is that what they call it? This one will actually, this is like full portrait mode. So this is like perfect for TikTok, basically, and Shorts and all those new video form of stuff. 1 by 1 is still good in Instagram, but people don't use it that much. 3 by 5, 3 by 4 is also perfect for Instagram. You know, Instagram, except it's Reels. Instagram, you need that space for your captions and everything. So that's it. So now that we have that decided, we now know where we want to start from. Okay. So for this video, since my source is already, it doesn't mean naturally. Let's do the video in 9 by 16, for example. And then let's give it a name. Do you want to, you can go back to your seat. Oh, yeah, okay there. Okay. All right. Okay. So look at what happened now. Who saw that? Who saw what happened just now? So all those excerpts that you want to make excerpts from, yeah, this is what you should do, right? And CapCuts can actually allow you to still make changes. If you come back here, you can still change the aspect ratio back. Alright. Down here, you can still go back to whichever. So until you export, you don't have to commit to any size. Down here, you can still go back to switch.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I know, but the video is still looking like as if it's a landscape.
You can't scale it in now.
I need the mouse to do that. You can pinch in on it.
Oh, is that why you asked me for a mouse? Well, that's not the scale I'm talking about. This is scale. Double tap and drag. Or click and drag. Alright, so, but let's go back to where we were, please, because we're not done. Where were we? We were here. So we only just explained ratio. There's more to explain. Okay? I'm hungry, are we? Don't worry, we'll soon.
Where is the modify?
modifier is no longer there. I mean, go and click on something on your project first.
Wait, this first. You're showing me now. I'm learning. We don't just go to touch.
Click on this.
Okay.
That should be modifier.
Oh.
If you click on this one, it should be. All right. Now, if it comes to resolution, you will see what options do you see?
Adapted.
Adapted, and what else?
So,
Let's do custom. Wait, click on this, then go to modifier. She can fit to you.
hey, you did your
Eh?
pieces now.
Yeah, she can fit to you. All right, so resolution is very, very important.
Why?
HD, UHD, 4K,
8K.
FHD, all these are all 8K. Which other K again?
9K,
6K.
3K.
Which screen you want to watch am?
12K.
Which data you want to stream am? Sorry. Let's FHD is 720p. So usually they only state the shorter side. So this 720p is actually in full is what? 720 by 1280. You don't have to memorize it, just I've been seeing it too much so I know it. HD is the standard, but not for long, you know. As internet and things advance, we'll stop using HD. Yeah, your data will be burning. But HD is 1080 by what? Who has memorized it? By what?
480.
Not be 480. I will show you stone.
By 1480.
No, by 1920.
Mr. Android. 6HD will be higher than this.
Just know it like that. FHD is 720.
Full HD.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, please. Just out of curiosity.
Mm.
The FHD and HD, which contain more data?
HD is higher. As you see the number, when the number increases, more data.
Okay. It's because of the F that
F there. That's how we met it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Full HD.
Why do you not question them for
No.
when you know you
This one is 2160p.
Ultra HD.
Ultra HD is 2160 by 3840. I don't know why I have these numbers, but I think if I'm wrong, you can correct me another day. 4K is actually close to this. If I'm correct, I think 4K is just a bit wider. So 4K should be like 2160 by 4000. It's very close, right? So 4K is 4000p. So, but usually they call UHD 4K. So when you hear 4K, most times it's UHD you are referring to. So they can be used interchangeably. Ultra HD, 4K. Understand? 8K, I don't memorize that because I've never used it. So, but I think it should be something close to 8000 pixels, right? And you know what? Slash this because this cannot be 4000p. You have to take the shorter number, not the yeah. Just know that 8K is double of 4K, right? Doubles the resolution. So what's the advantage of editing in this? Now, don't want to say I want the best resolution, I'm going to edit my video in 8K. You are going to be wasting your time. Because if you shot in HD and you edit in 8K, you are still delivering HD. You are just creating fake pixels. You are just stretching your video. But there's no more pixels inside. So the thing is, only go as high as your video.
Go as high as.
Yes. So the rule is, if your video was shot in 4K, then your timeline should be in 4K. You understand? So video in 4K, then timeline in 4K. But, there's a but. Most people prefer, still shoot the video in 4K, still use your timeline in normal HD. Why? Because it's still going to be clearer, especially if you like doing zoom effects, which are very good in video. So let's say the person make a punchline and then you do like camera zooming, right? It's in editing though. The person videoing was not zooming in and out. You will really like shooting in 4K because of that kind of effect. Because by the time you zoom in, it's still very sharp and you see more details. You get. So it's very interesting to shoot in 4K and edit HD because you can zoom, crop, and then when we try to do that portrait stuff. So let's say you are trying to like do vertical views, right? If you shot it in 4K, your vertical view will be very, very sharp. Because all these pixels that you have lost, that you cropped out, you still have enough. You still have about 2,000 pixels here, right? 2,160 here, which is even still bigger than 1920. So when you crop your this thing, it's still higher than normal HD. So it's very good. So the point is, if you have a camera that can shoot 4K, you have enough storage, then shoot 4K.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Recently, I was doing recording for my system. So my question is, let's say you shoot in, let's say, 4K.
Yeah.
Can you render it in other less?
Can you take your question again with the microphone? I have 2 mics now. Oh, yeah, go.
Okay, my question is this.
Yeah.
Let's say you shoot with 4K. Can you render it other lesser resolution, like let's say 720p or even less than 720p? Will it still be sharp?
Yes. It will still improve the quality.
But I did something like that recently, but
Yes.
it was very poor. It was
Very
pixelated. The video was pixelated.
Your bitrate too matters. So that's another thing we'll get to. Though it's not written here, but it's very important. Your bitrate is just as important as all these resolutions.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
what I would recommend is, even if you shoot in 4K, render it in 1080p, not 4K, not 720. Avoid 720. Like why? Like why? Is this space we are trying to store save? Avoid 720.
Correct.
Yeah. If the client, many times you cannot upload those things via Gmail and all that. Tell the client, I'm uploading it on YouTube. Download it any resolution you want. You get. Because if I choose to upload something in 4K on YouTube and the person can download it, you can choose the version you want to download with. So that's what I do. If I want to help somebody that doesn't have space to waste, or they're like, this file is too big, no problem. Let me go through the stress of making sure I deliver the best quality. Upload that best quality on YouTube. You download any resolution you want, depending on your space. Instead of you delivering 720 to them, they will not say it's not clear. Deliver it very sharp. So I deliver most of my videos via YouTube anyway.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sandra, not give me mic.
For your question. When you ask again, collect mic. Alright. So try not to leave this resolution part. Any more question on resolution? I'm trying to stall for Sonia to join us. There's a lot to ask about resolution, like your social media platforms, they all have different resolution, right?
Yes.
So now 4K and 8K, what's their problem? The problem is that most of us cannot even stream in 4K or 8K. Go and take water.
I've got water.
It's food in it. Okay. Where were we?
Oh my God.
Alright.
I lost it.
No.
Show me some.
So you're not lost. We're still in resolution.
We still say this one.
Alright, let's look at other stuff here.
Platforms and different resolutions.
Yes. Yes. And I've actually passed that.
But
But
give me a book make I copy after.
But
yes.
Give me a book let me copy.
I also discover something because
frame rate. Frame rate, frame rate, frame rate. Let me zoom in so I will see what we're doing.
Can we do a resolution?
We just did resolution, right? We did ratio first. Then we did resolution. Resolution is what we're talking about. Okay, we did ratio and resolution together, kind of. Yes. Because this is just where you can change it. So
Before we then start about ratio, actually, because okay, yeah, that's something.
it's the same thing. Like if you is yes, they go together. Let me just explain it. So um, oh my God. So if you're let's say you change your frame rate, your aspect ratio, right? You can now come and choose the resolution you are using for it. Okay. In fact, what CapCut is doing, is using the resolution of your video actually. That's why it says adapted. So whatever you choose, it will just try and keep your resolution as high as possible to match the aspect ratio you chose. But if you want to have full control, then you come to customize. Then you can't even change your ratio again. By then, whatever you set as your resolution is automatically your ratio.
So when we set the aspect ratio,
Yeah.
then we just put the resolution to adapt to the ratio that we.
Yes, by default it's being adapted.
Okay.
So by default it's being adapted. But if you go to customize, this is where you can do your own thing. So let's say you wanted 1 by 1, you can now say 2000 by 2000. We know that that is 1 by 1. And that's going to give me a square shaped video. Okay? But that's because it's on customize. So let's go back to this 9 by 16. Okay. One more thing from there. In fact, 2 more things from there. I mentioned bit rate.
Yep.
Let me see if I will find that in performance. No. Anyway, this is not the best software to explain these things. If you go to Premiere Pro, you see more settings than this.
Okay, this
This is CapCut, yeah. But it's good. Let's learn it. Okay, so ratio we have explained.
Frame rate.
Let's look at this. Ratio we have explained. Resolution we now understand. By the way, I did not really go in depth into what resolution is. Resolution is known as PPI, right? It's measured in PPI, which is called pixels per inch. So, okay, well, this is usually graphics designers see this a lot. So when you like 300, you see DPI or PPI. 300 DPI or 300 PPI.
What's the
Is pixels per inch. So let's say you wanted to print out a banner. There's a resolution, there's a way you do it. Maybe you use 72 DPI now. It will come out blurry. But that's not video term. But the point is, a picture is like, a picture is made up of small pixels, right? We mentioned pixelated just now. When something is blurry, it's called, I say it's pixelated, right? So small boxes known as pixels that make up a picture. So the more the pixels, the clearer the picture. The more you can zoom in, have more resolution and stuff. So frame rate. What does frame rate do? Let me start by asking a question. What do you know about frame rate? Do you know anything about frame rate? No, good. That's why you're in this class. Frame rate. Frame rate, you.
No, but I've had it.
Frame rate.
But I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
It means I've
Okay. That's more like bit rate. That's more like bit rate. If you talk about rendering, that's more like bit rate. Yeah, bit rate has to do, the bit rate affect the quality of rendering. But frame rate is,
Like slow mo.
yeah, it's like shorter speed.
Yeah, I think I've
It's like
seen it
speed.
before.
It's like speed of capture of the video. So frame rate is actually, you actually do it while recording. But yeah, so that's why FPS means frames per second. We know that a video is moving pictures, right?
Yeah.
So how many moving pictures are in 1 second of your video? That's frame rate. Do you understand? So this means there are 24 pictures in 1 second of my video. Are you following? You're calculating your money. This means that there are 60 pictures in 1 second of my video. So which one do you think is better? If you give me 24 and you give me 60, which one do you think is better?
60.
24.
Why do you think 60? Why do you think 24?
Because we have more frames per second, so there are more.
Okay.
Frames.
True. Do you know that to a natural eye, you will know the difference?
Exactly.
You won't know the difference unless you begin to drop this to 15. Then it will look like stop motion. You'll be seeing the freeze motion going on. But if you're in 24, you won't know that 24 is bad. 24 will not look bad to you. So what they say is 60 can cause eye problem. That is, there are some people that their eyes are sensitive to flashes or fast movement. So they may not know why, but as they are watching your film, they are having headache. You understand? Because you render it in 60 frames per second. So don't go and give people headache by giving them movies in 60 frames per second. So cinema standard is 24. You want to give people headache?
Yeah. Now I know.
Cinema standard is that you output, look at it, you output or you render your video in 24 frames per second. Now, there's an advantage and a disadvantage of this. The advantage is that this is good for people to see and watch and enjoy. It has the right amount of motion blur when they need to be. Let's say boy is moving fast, you can see the motion blur. It has everything good. But does that mean you should use your camera in 24 frames per second? No. Your camera can still be as high as possible. So the rule is, especially if you know you want to add slow motion effect in your video, then on your camera you can go high to 60, right? But on your final render, you still render to 24. So that means your timeline, because this frame rate is actually the frame rate of your project, of your timeline. So your project frame rate should be in 24. 25 is still fine. 30 is still fine. But 24 is what they call cinema rate, cinema frame rate, right? Cinema standard. So the rule is, let's say you want to do like a nice, we can even do an example. So let's say I want to throw this pen and catch it, right? In a video. If I want to shoot that, I will shoot in a high frame rate with my camera. Some cameras can even shoot up to 120, right? What am I saying? I'm talking about phone now. Real cameras can shoot up to 2,000 or more. Like, if you want to capture bullets, like the bullets moving very fast stuff, they will get it in slow motion. You understand? So it's capturing 2,000 pictures in 1 second. Imagine how powerful such cameras are. So cinema cameras have high frame rates. But when they want to still output it, they will still drop it for you. So your eye is not spoiled. That's just, it's not natural to watch high frame rate stuff. You also notice some phones, that one they write it in hertz, right? Refresh rate is what they call it in phones. Refresh rate, 60 hertz.
Yeah.
For gamers, you want a high refresh rate. It's the same idea, the same concept. So that's frame rate, okay? Shoot in high frames per second if you intend to slow down your footage in editing, okay? That's the rule.
Okay, but sorry, Does any of all this, I already understand that the resolution will increase the size of the
Yes.
storage. Does the frame rate also increase the...
Yes.
Wow.
So
So
frame rate.
that means if we are to shoot, like, let's say, 1 hour 30 minutes movie, what storage should be someone probably should go for?
If you are shooting like a 1 hour 30 minutes movie,
Yes, for example.
you are shooting in 4K
Yes.
at 60 frames per second.
Yes.
You will spend nothing less than 8 terabytes at the least.
Sorry.
Shocking.
But when you're rendering, you're not rendering, it's not it can't be. You're not rendering it.
Your raw files I'm talking about.
Okay, that's a rough file.
Yeah. You spend
I
less
mean,
than 8
there's going to
terabytes.
be a lot of cuts, action, cut,
Yeah.
action.
Even if you minimize errors and say you don't want to have many cut action, because like you said, because the raw files may end up being 4 hours long, right, or
Yes.
more. So there'll be a lot of cutting. But even though, let's look at perspective. The current Windows movie, they are currently editing it. All their storage is combined. It's up to 40 terabytes that they are using to edit the movie. And the movie is not up to 2 hours long.
What the heck?
It's black magic. So it also depends on your camera. Black magic raw files are very large. Sony is smaller. So it depends on the camera.
Okay, the camera is black magic.
That's what the Windows use. Black magic camera. Okay, so if you are shooting, so just if you are using a Sony camera, you may not need up to this. You may be able to do with this. So that's why I said, that video we were watching, I said storage is more important than anything. The guy started by talking about storages.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
The video we were watching started by talking about storages. Because video makers invest a lot in storages. That's where all their money is going to. Camera gears, hard drives.
200 terabytes.
My goodness.
What about
You will
Canon,
spend a lot.
Canon?
Canon's files are also small. Most Canons are not for movie share, but
How about those camcorders? Are they very large?
But if I'm
They're
to
not
go,
large.
because I really want to go into
Their
a
quality is very
movie.
good.
Yeah.
So, like, what camera is it best to go?
Sony is okay.
Sony. Which of the Sony model? Maybe after class you will tell me that as well.
The one we have is okay now. ZV-E10. That's like one of the cheapest Sony. ZV-E10. When I say cheapest, it's still like 1 point something million now.
That's
But
not
like,
camera.
yeah.
But camcorder,
FX30 is another good one.
FX3.
All the FX series, sha. I think this FX is what this guy uses, Gus. Gus uses FX. I think he has upgraded. But all right, guys. Let us round up with bitrate. I'm not recording.
It's not showing no space.
Why is it showing no space?
Click on bitrate first. Then click on customize. Go down custom. Alright. Alright, so we're rounding up today's class very quickly. Now, we've talked about frame rate, bitrate, and the rest, right? So bitrate is one of the last property we should look at because it's very tricky. Usually when you see those apps that say video compressor apps, these all they change. Bitrate. So there's nothing magical. Instead of downloading video compressor app, just understand how to change your bitrate by yourself. You understand? So you go and look for video. You say, my video is too large, 1.2 gig. I want to look for a compressor app. They will not compare to 200 MB. You'll be jumping. Wow. They've only dropped your bitrate for you. So yes. So knowledge.
Like the output.
The outputs.
Whatever.
Quality. So it's like how many MB is in 1 second of your video. That's just a way to look at it. How many MB of data? How many megabytes of data? So it's like if I take you a picture with like a small phone, right? My pictures can be 1 MB, 2 MB. If I take you a picture with a DSLR camera, it can be 20 MB. You get. So that's bitrate. That's like what bitrate is. So it will not drop your resolution, but it can drop your quality badly. So usually, if you want to go very low to really help your clients to save space, don't go less than 8,000, which is 8 Mbps.
Don't go less than 8,000. Okay.
If you want to maintain quality, 8 Mbps. So that's how you write bit rate, Mbps, megabits per second.
But I'm saying
So if when you're rendering,
kbps.
yes, like 2 hours.
Thousand. So 8 Mbps is 8,000 kbps. Kilobits per second. Okay. So,
So if it's like, if it is 130
Please, can you
minutes,
reiterate?
the outlet is going to be
Okay.
8 MB times the seconds, the 130 minutes.
kind of. Yeah, so that's how you multiply it.
Wow.
Okay. So what I'm basically trying to say is that your final output size of your video depends on two things now: the length of the video, the resolution of the video, and then the bit rate that you render in. If you go and render in, let's say, it's also okay. Bit rate is also like a compression quality. It's like a compression format. So if you say you don't want any compression at all, you go and put 200,000. You have a very large file size. Look at 1.9 gig. But the quality cannot be better than 1080p. Like, it will not make your quality not be 4K. So it will be overkill. So they even limited itself. They even brought it down to 50. Like, I think CapCut was like, it shouldn't be more than 50, bro.
What the heck are you doing, bro?
Like, what are you doing 200 for, right? So I think they capped it at 50, right? So you get. So I think 50 is a good cap. Don't go and do 100. So to it, see, it's not mathematics. Let me just be looking at this file size as I'm changing the bit rate. That's what I just want you to understand. That there's a relationship between bit rate and file size. You understand? This is 100 MB video. There are times that you are trying to upload something and the website is telling you maximum upload is 50 MB. This way you can come and save yourself, right? You come and maybe you drop your resolution small to 720, then drop your bit rate to 1000, then you will now be able to meet up with the file size. See it? Any question on bit rate?
You said it will not go below 8,000.
Though for me anyway, I believe is
5,000 is safe. Yeah.
But I believe by the time we do more of practical,
Yes.
it will be more clear.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. So the point I'm making here about bit rate is simple. Your bit rate directly affects your file size more than any other thing. So if your file is too large, where do you check bit rate? Maybe my bit rate is too high. In fact, in CapCut it's easy because CapCut, they even try to hide it so that if you don't know it, just leave it in recommended and stop stressing yourself. So this recommended, so I'm thinking it's about 5,000, right? It's about 260 something MB. So if you go to customize, you notice that that's close to 5,000 or even 6,000. So CapCut has kind of given us a hint that maybe they recommend 6,000 or even 7,000 as your bit rate. Yeah, it looks like 6,005. CapCut tries to hide some technicalities from people. So I think it's 6,005 that is recommended. Because it's 256 MB, the same thing it was when I click on recommended, right? So according to CapCut, recommended bit rate is 6,500 kbps for a 1080p video. That means if you are rendering a 4K video, don't go and still use this one. You are dropping your 4K quality. So you may have to double this to like, what now? Maybe 15,000. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Are we making sense, guys? Can we stop here, guys? Can we call it a day here?
Quality won't always be nice. Even if you're not ready for the day, it won't always be nice.
Okay. Assignment.
Like,
Assignment for this class. Assignment for this class. Let us create.
How many students are on campus?
You will not write your assignment.
Sorry.
I'm busy laughing.
No,
Rude character. Bad character.
Great.
Assignments for this class. Give me 2 short videos in 2 different resolutions.
Oh, wow.
2 short videos.
It doesn't have to be anything serious. You can get from. I don't care about your editing quality now. What I want to see is.
Short video. Let me record Sonia now.
My system is showing.
You can get video
Hey,
from.
Sandro, this system is showing us strange things.
Computer doesn't have enough storage. It means your computer doesn't have enough storage.
No, it's not storage.
Let me
It's
check
SP.
what where to
That is
go.
that. That is not
I'm
SP.
coming. 1080. Let's drop your resolution and see.
What's that?
Let's choose the. Let's choose the destination it's trying to put it. Let's try desktop.
Sonia. Your system size
You-
should be 1
You need to clear your. You need to create space on your Mac. I think there's.
Excuse me.
I think it's part of why it was also hanging.
Not to check sometimes.
Why?
Careful, eh? See if you can check the storage, the space available on the Mac. All right, guys. So, create 2 videos.
In 2 different resolutions.
How would I do on it?
You only have 3.98 gig. One free.
Yeah.
You have to
So now-
delete every.
Okay. The internal memory is 121.
Yes.
It's small.
Look at this one.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Say sorry to my phone.
So someone like you, you should have. Sonia, someone like you should have a hard drive where you'll be working with. So most of your files will be in a hard drive. Don't be saving things in your laptop. Your laptop will not be hanging. Part of the reason why your laptop is even slow is that there's no enough storage remaining.
Do you learn Python?
You get.
That's an estimate.
Sorry.
All right. So
You see those videos like that are in a premium what?
That's yours.
Premium.
so create 2 videos with aspect ratios
Macro, abeg, get me
16 by 9 for YouTube,
that one,
right?
that one.
And another one 9 by 16 for YouTube. Okay. And they should all be in 1080p resolution.
Wait, is this still not the 2 videos we are making beyond?
2 videos now, 2 videos.
Okay. 16 by 9.
Same video, you change the aspect ratio. Or do you want to do 2 different videos? Whatever, just be creative. It should all be in 1080p resolution, 25 frames per second. Then, whatever bitrate you're exporting, you state it. You tell us the bitrate you exported at. So your video should not be more than 1 minute long. I don't need a very long video.
It's 5 minutes on video.
1 minute max.
1 minute max, right? I have one.
What's that?
Don't go and give me my video.
Is that 20?
Another video.
So make you
25 FPS.
Sandro, your video is not in Islam.
No, it's
Are
not.
you really starting?
I say create 2 videos, right? What I need is one of the video will be a portrait mode. The other video will be on landscape mode.
Can you please let me to upload this?
9 by 16 and also 16 by 9. We need to have a way of submitting these videos online. So you guys should be submitting it on Google Drive. I'm sending me the link, I beg.
Alright, sir.
So you're gonna spend.
Right.
So it will be submitted before the next class.
Yeah, which is on Tuesday.
Okay. We have enough time. Look at it already.
Your 2 assignments should be submitted before Tuesday. I've given you guys 2 assignments. The first assignment about gathering resources, and then this one.
Yes, sir.
So as to free some space.
Okay.
Then this one is an ocean. Is also installer.
That 169 to 126.
Visual Studio.
I'm
the time. It's 3:11.
This DNG, this one is insoluble. All this is soluble. This one.
Also, I have let's call it about